Today we're talking about that part of the season before anything's even happened. You know the season is coming. You're about to run tryouts. You're about to have your first team events, but you haven't actually done anything yet. And what should you do with your time? How do you plan those first events? What should you do with that time? And how can you ensure that you kick your season off in a way that's going to set you up for success later on down the road? Okay. Yes, I love talking about this. And the reason I love talking about this is because the beginning of your season is so important for setting the tone and setting expectations. And so much of where you end up landing as a team depends on how you start. So that's why it's so important, and that's why I love talking about it. Specifically, it's important to acknowledge that every team is different. So the beginning of everyone's season is going to look different. The way you use your time is going to look different. But there are some generalities that we all can learn from. There are some things that we can keep in mind that are going to give every team a better chance for success. So here are those things specifically with regard to tryouts and how you run your tryouts, or if it's not a tryout, how you run your first events with the team. And I did a little bit of research of what was already out there. And there was an article I found by Tina Booth on Ultiworld. And I think it's a great starting piece. I have some slightly differing opinions based on what I read. And I'm going to just sort of highlight what I think is a little bit different for me. That doesn't mean that I'm right. That doesn't mean Tina's right. It just means we're different because we're different people and we're in different contexts. Tina mentions in her article that you should decide what you are looking for from new players. And I completely agree with that. I think that's a good conversation to have with your leadership. But in addition, I think it's not just important to decide what you're looking for, but I'm also very explicit with my teams in those first tryouts or in those first practices about what those things are. And with the team that I've coached recently, the high school boys team, we came up with 5 things that were important. And these were the things that we actually talked about on the back end when we evaluated players. Those 5 categories are athleticism, throwing, your ability to get open, your ability to play defense or stop someone from getting open, and this one's a little bit subjective, it's your contribution as a teammate, or teammatesmanship as we like to call it. Now, those things are all each individually subjective in the way you think about them, but they're also clear in the sense that if you tell those things to a player and they have those 5 categories in front of them, it gives them an idea to assess themselves, and it's going to make conversations easier down the road when you actually have to tell people what team they're on or cut people. You know, those conversations become a lot more clear. You can say things like, you know, clearly you're one of the most athletic people who was at the tryout, but the reason that we chose to put you on the B team or the JV team, or the reason we decided not to take you on the A team, was because your throws and your throwing decision-making was just not quite what we needed it to be. So that's what you can work on if you want to make the team next year. All right. So clarifying those things that you're looking for is really important. It's okay to be, you know, not super granular on the front end of what specifically you're looking for. You just want to have an idea. You want something to say to the team at tryouts. You want some type of phrase or moment at the tryout where you say, if you're wondering how to make the team, or what you need to be doing, or what you need to show us, it's these 5 things. And then you say, maybe you say one more sentence about each thing and what you're looking for. But that gives players a clear picture in their mind of something to focus on.